Shifting focus now, the presidential elections in Mexico today are expected to be historic. There are several factors at play which might prove to be decisive. Here's a look at some of the key issues which may determine which way the voters cast their ballot as they head out to choose their next president.
In an electorate of 72 million, over half the people who will cast their vote to elect their next president on Sunday in Mexico are under the age of 39. And among these, an overwhelming 14 million of them are first-time voters. The young and their aspirations are touted to be the key deciding factor in determining which way the pendulum of power is likely to swing. Among the crucial issues that have dominated the debate in Mexico's presidential elections, corruption tops the list. The incumbent president, Enrique Peña Nieto's party, has been in power for 77 in the last 90 years. Corruption is seen as endemic in government functioning. Peña Nieto's administration has been extremely unpopular due to corruption scandals. No less than 9 of his governors are awaiting trial in corruption cases. President Nieto's wife herself has been under the scanner for the purchase of a $7 million luxury apartment, a deal which she was later forced to cancel. The other crucial issue the average voter in Mexico would be closely monitoring is economy. Like corruption, the sluggish Mexican economy is the other key area of concern, especially for Mexico's aspirational youth. The economy has been growing at a paltry 2% rate in the last 5 years. In a country whose societal structure is characterized by blinding disparity, almost 40% of the people live in poverty. Making matters worse, the Mexican peso has been weakening against the dollar. Oil production has been dwindling, which in turn have squeezed the profits of the state oil company Pemex. But the biggest threat to the Mexican economy has been signaled by its northern neighbor under Donald Trump, who has made it abundantly clear that he wants to renegotiate the North American Free Trade Agreement. The woes of the Mexicans do not end here. The other big issue which is in focus is security. The month of May 2018 has proven to be the most violent month recorded in Mexico's modern history. Last year, over 29,000 murders had been reported, and this year, the number is likely to be surpassed. Gang wars between different drug cartels are witnessed regularly. Despite the governmental crackdown on drug cartels, they have now diversified into new avenues, making drug control even harder for the administration. But this being the election year has made the violence particularly ugly. Violence has been used as an instrument to dominate the political landscape. Since September last year, no less than 530 politicians have been attacked, out of which 132 have been murdered. However, one of the biggest challenges in the Mexican presidential elections is how fake news is impacting people's perception as they head out to vote. There are reports of candidates and political parties being on an overdrive to spread propaganda through fake news messages, Facebook, Twitter posts, and so on. In fact, the Mexican media has come up with an artificial intelligence-powered search tool to counter fake news. The elections come at a time when Mexico's northern neighbor is ruled by a president who has blown hot and cold over building a wall at the Mexican border. Bureau Report, WION.
So it's the world's 15th biggest country when it comes to landmass, the second biggest Latin American economy, and the apparent arch nemesis of US President Donald Trump. Mexico is going to polls today. The once-in-6-year polls are going to be the biggest this year, with more than 3,400 seats up for grabs at local and state level. The election marks the end of term for incumbent President Peña Nieto. The constitution of the country mandates that no president should stay on for more than a term, which most feel is a relief given the poor track record of Mr. Nieto. Mexico has been marred with the large-scale violence and corruption under the rule of the current president. So who are the key faces contesting the polls? The front-runner is Andrés Manuel López Obrador from the National Regeneration Movement Party. The 64-year-old, known in the media as AMLO, has for years been one of the best-known politicians in Mexico. He has already run for the presidency twice before, losing both times by relatively small margins. If he wins the elections, the country will see a resurgence of the left politics in over 8 decades. And Obrador seems extremely confident of his victory. Take a listen in.
Estamos a punto de llevar a cabo una transformación sin derramamiento de sangre, de manera pacífica. Hoy se publican encuestas que registran que estamos muy arriba del segundo lugar, pero tenemos que lograr una victoria contundente.
The only other candidate who analysts feel has a chance against Obrador is Ricardo Anaya. The 39-year-old has formed an unlikely coalition between his center-right National Action Party and two smaller center-left parties. Known as a ruthless political operator, Anaya has launched withering attacks on both the ruling PRI and López Obrador.
Esta no es una elección más. Este domingo estará en juego literalmente el futuro de nuestro país. Este domingo estará en juego el futuro de toda una generación. Que cuando yo sea presidente de México, habrá una fiscalía autónoma que investigará todos los actos de corrupción de este sexenio, incluyendo la participación de Enrique Peña Nieto.
Now, the third and the rather insignificant presidential candidate is Antonio Mied from the ruling PRI. We say so because he has been unable to overcome the frustration of the voters with his party's failure to tackle crime and corruption. The 48-year-old former finance minister is expected to come a close third. He has been close with President Peña Nieto and has defended him against corruption allegations. But in May, he was forced to admit his former boss had lost the fight against violent crime.
Un Andrés Manuel que amenaza a todos. Amenaza a la Suprema Corte de Justicia, amenaza a las Fuerzas Armadas, amenaza a las familias con sacar a los criminales a la calle. Esta boleta está en juego lo que pensamos, lo que queremos, lo que hemos construido. En esta elección nos jugamos el destino del país.
Mexico has often been seen in the shadows of the United States of America. The American president has been critical of unchecked immigration from its southern neighbor. In addition to sharing a 1,900-mile border with the U.S., Mexico is also its third largest trading partner, shipping 610,000 barrels of crude oil north per day. While leading candidate López Obrador says he will protect NAFTA and crack down on unfavorable trade practices, he has been extremely critical of President Trump's immigration policies.